Welcome back to the Give Back Girls podcast. I'm Toria McFadden.
And I'm Anita Cunningham.
Today, Anita and I have the pleasure to talk with Mary Campbell from the Dreams Are Possible. This organization is one of the past donation recipients of our 100 Women for Good donation back in 2021.
That's right, Toria. And in fact, this was one of my most memorable meetings. And I even referenced Dreams Are Possible in our very first episode of the Give Back Girls podcast when Toria Marie and I were all talking about some of our past donation recipients. It was absolutely one of my favorites. So I'm thrilled to share more with our audience. And I'm so excited to hear from you, Mary.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, so let's get right to it. Let me introduce Mary. Mary Campbell, the co-developer of Labyrinth Outreach Services to Women prior to becoming the co-founder and director of Dreams Are Possible, which is what we are here to talk about today. Dreams Are Possible is a training center for women to develop their job-ready skills as well as obtain certifications and expose them to employment opportunities with job security that pay a living wage. So Mary, welcome to the Give Back Girls podcast.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, Mary, could you get us started by providing a little history about the Dreams Are Possible organization? How did your organization come about?
I'm a dreamer myself, and so Feli Sebastian, another woman, and I started Labyrinth. We got that up and going. We got it funded. We got the 2 buildings renovated. We had women housed there, and neither one of us wanted to be professional directors of a nonprofit. We just want to get them started, because otherwise that won't happen. So we gave that over to the YWCA, and then it was like, what am I going to do next? You know, I'm retired. I really enjoy helping women. It's part of who I am. I taught social work for 30 years at ISU, and I know the story of how women struggle to make ends meet, to take care of their kids. So I grew up in a family that was, my dad was a union steward. That's how we all got to go to college, and I really believe in jobs that pay well, not jobs that you just show up and they say, oh, we don't need you tonight, and then you don't get paid. So that's kind of, and I thought, how can I do that? What can I do? So I have a husband who's very good. He taught construction management here at ISU, and we started looking for a building like we had done with the Labyrinth buildings, and we found this old grocery store that had been turned into who knows what, and it was over on West Olive Street. So we decided, let's buy that, let's get volunteers, and they renovated it, and it's now a wonderful, wonderful, warm training center, and we have classes that run there all the time now.
That's awesome. Also, I like that Mary, in her retirement, picked up these multiple nonprofits and started in my non-retirement. I'm not doing that well. So that's amazing, Mary.
I just like the startup mentality that Mary has. Yeah, that's amazing. So, Mary, can you tell us more about how women who would like to learn more about the trades that Dreams has to offer find out about this training?
Sure. How they find out about it is just typing in Dreams Are Possible in the Google search, and up will pop the story of the program. It also has, because there are some volunteers who have helped us with the tech part of it, you just go on and introduce your name into it and phone number, and our staff person will get back to them. So a lot of I would say 97% of the women that have come to Dreams since we started live below the poverty line. And they hear about it from flyers that we put out. They hear about it because we stuffed a flyer in a food pantry bag. They hear about it because their sister, cousin, aunt went through the program. And they work way too hard for way too little. And so they want to get improvement, and then they reach out, and once the class is going on right now, and the next round will start in August.
That's awesome.
So am I hearing right that there's also a referral program too from either past participants or maybe through other avenues?
Absolutely. because I was in social services at ISU, I know a lot of the agency people. So anytime there's an event that they're having, a picnic, a carnival, a festival, they invite me. I come over, set up a table, and take a flyer and talk to the women who come up to the table, tell them about it. Or if it's a man comes up, I ask, do you have a sister? Do you have an aunt? Whatever. And so we get the word out. We partner with Heartland Head Start, which is a wonderful program just down the road from us, and try to get the women who drop off their children at the Head Start class in the morning to come on over to our morning class. So it's pre-COVID, we were putting flyers everywhere, and then that was when we just got started, and COVID hit and we shut down. But we pretty much get the word out in any shape or form that we can.
Yeah, that's great. And, I want to go back, Mary, to our introduction
Okay.
and the types of training and the types of programs that you offer to women. Can you describe the types of programs that you have available?
Sure, I can. I actually initially in my head, because I told you that my dad was in the union, I had in my head, get the women into the trades because the money is good. But the reality is that many of the women who've lived in poverty for many, many years, they don't have very good health. And so I sort of took a pivot on that one. And some women have gone. We have a woman who just is in the apprenticeship program through the building trades. We've had people go into truck driving and welding and things like that. But the bulk of the women, we try to get them into jobs where they don't have to be so physical. So we work with Country Financial. We work with, we've met with Ferraro Chocolates. There's a lot of companies in town that really want to have committed staff, and it's not as physically demanding as building a wall.
Yeah,
so
awesome. Thank you.
So we do both.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And the classes that we offer, I said the woman who sets up the curriculum, she's our main instructor. She's retired from Illinois Wesleyan. She has this amazing curriculum where it covers everything. They have mentors experiences. They work on their resume. They learn about Google. They learn about how to use a computer, because most of the women try to do their resumes on a cell phone. It doesn't work. So we have forklift training through Heartland Community College for those who want to go into those fields. We bring in Heartland Community College to our building. They talk about the programs that they have, the certifications, nursing, welding, phlebotomy, those kinds of things, and find out what the women are interested in. And once we know what they're interested in, then we help direct them into some field. And Heartland is our best partner for that.
Awesome.
First of all, we used to call this forklift training just because it was very close to our heart.
It's
of
our
like
shorthand.
Yes, of like it was hard for us to remember dreams are possible at first. Not that we didn't want to dream of driving a forklift. It was just it was a fun name for us, but also how well-rounded this program is to think of not just the trades and maybe careers that you didn't maybe first think of a woman in, but also how this rounded out other experiences for women of not just the trade itself, but other ways they could take care of themselves once they maybe had a steady paycheck, of that financial stability and remaining financially responsible and things like that. So you mentioned other classes that they might take. Can you maybe talk a little bit more to that?
Sure. We work really hard on helping the women set goals. So a lot of it in the beginning is, we call it the grit mindset, right? Is like, what is it you want to do, and how do you set those goals, and how do you work to achieve those? Once we know what their goals are, then it's easy to work with them and adapt our curriculum to whatever it is that they're interested in. Now, we have a class, usually the class is about 8. So there'll be 8 on Tuesday, Thursday evening. There'll be 8 on Tuesday, Thursday morning. And then our math class is on Wednesday for 2 hours. So they don't have to go to the math class, but we pulled math out because we noticed women were dropping out when we got to the math section, right? So, but we have a math teacher from ISU who, Sherry Mersch, she's retired. She's awesome. She teaches math like it was the most fun thing in the world. And they do measuring cups and rulers and all the things like that are practical math. So we try very hard to get them the skills, but more importantly, I think the confidence. They don't have confidence that they can actually get a better job. They've never done a resume, right? They've gone to jobs where you stand there in front of the person, you fill out the form. They've never done a resume. So we have volunteers from the community who come in and help them with their resumes, people from companies who come. And then they'll come back when the woman is ready to practice interviewing for the job at the company she wants to work at. Yeah, and it's and all of those people are volunteers. They all just give up their time to invest in these women. So it's inspiring.
Awesome. You know, Mary, you mentioned your partnership with Heartland Community College and several different approaches. Can you tell us about any other organizations that you partner with?
Sure. We have memorandums of understanding with a number of organizations. I think probably the closest one would be Heartland Head Start. We go to their festivals, we go to their events, we talk to their women, and we try very hard to get their young moms to come to our morning class, which is actually why we started the morning class in the first place, because they couldn't come in the evening. So I would say that's probably our closest partnership that we have. Our student services coordinator, Nancy, she works with any agency that has a resource that one of our women needs. So if they need housing, if they need transportation, if they need health care, then she's the one who does the networking. She has a master's in social work, also retired, and she does that and because she knows the resources, and how to get them. So then we do it that way. But I would say Heartland. So Heartland actually, and I'm a trustee at Heartland. So Heartland actually comes to our classes and meets with the women because they would never walk on ISU campus. Never. You couldn't pay them. And Heartland's is scary. So we get Heartland to come to us. They realize they're not all that scary. And then the last day of class, which will be a Saturday, July, whatever it is, 28th or something like that, we get a Connect Transit bus. We get our own bus, and they give it to us for free. They pick up the women at the Dreams building, and they take them to the Heartland campus where the staff meet them and show them all the programs, show them the Workforce Development Center, show them all the activities, the phlebotomy, all that stuff. They get to see those things and realize that they can get help, because there's a program they'll call Workforce Equity Initiative, which is a grant that pays a stipend that pays for their tuition. And then when they're all done learning about all of that, they take them upstairs to the career closet where they get to pick out whatever clothes they want to interview for their job. Isn't that
Mary,
perfect?
you're killing us.
No, that's perfect.
I think what's amazing about this, and it just really reinforces how important representation is. If they're looking around and they don't see anyone that has their circumstances or that looks like them, who has a job as a phlebotomist or a forklift driver or whatever that thing that they're interested in, they don't think it's possible.
Sure.
And so you all at Dreams Are Possible, removing the barriers for people, whether that's childcare or healthcare or understanding how to use a checking account or
we teach financial literacy.
Yes, or just showing them that a college campus isn't the scary place that they might imagine it to be, and they belong there.
Right.
What an absolute gift! It's amazing.
We tie the financial literacy component to the fact that we have it always operates on a tight budget, but we pay the women a stipend. So if you're in class 2 hours on Tuesday morning, when you leave, you get a check for $30 because we pay minimum wage. And then you come back on Thursday for 2 hours in the morning, you get another $30. And if you come to the math class on Wednesday to enrich your math skills, you get another $30.
Oh, you don't pay more for math? Come on.
I feel like math should get a higher rate, Mary.
I mean, I do too.
And we offer workshops on Saturdays, probably 5 out of the 10 weeks. We'll have a workshop on gardening. It could be on yoga, could be on anything that the women have said I'm interested in. So we get a volunteer from the community. Woodworking. They love woodworking. Oh, there's home maintenance where you learn how to unclog your toilet,
that makes
right?
total sense.
Yeah. So they come to those, and they also get a stipend for that.
Amazing.
So it runs me, so if anybody out there has extra money, it runs us about $1,100 a week to pay those stipends. So I'm always trying to replenish that account.
Okay, well, I have a lot of other questions,
Go
but
ahead.
I'm going to
Sorry
stick
about
to the
that.
script. No, I'm sticking to the script right now. So one of our favorite questions
Yes.
is when we get to ask our guests about the most impactful story or moment of all the great work you do, which I know there's probably many, many, many to
Yeah.
choose from. But without using any names,
Sure.
could you share one of these? So,
Can I share two?
yeah.
Okay, so I was all set to tell you this one, which is typical. One of the women, she went through our program. She had children. She got a good job, and she called in to tell Nancy that she couldn't believe it. She was actually in tears. And when I try to tell the story, I almost get into tears. She said, "You're not going to believe it, Nancy, but I got to stay home with my son. He was sick, and I couldn't take him to school, and I got to stay home with him. And I'm still getting paid because I had sick days. I've never had sick days." I mean,
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
a wow moment. And the other one just happened. We had a Miller Park picnic. We've never done this before. We decided to have a picnic and invite the alumni and their families and the current students and their families. And so we had this big picnic at Miller Park on Saturday. And this woman who had gone through the class and finished up, would have been this past term. So she was sitting beside me, and she's telling me this story about, she said, "You're not going to believe it." She said, "It would have never happened." She said, "I'm 61 years old, and I would have never, ever, ever done any of this. But I've just finished 7 certificates at Heartland Community College, and I'm going to go on and get my associate's degree."
Oh, that's amazing.
But she said, without dreams, I would have never believed I could do it.
You made her dreams come true.
Yeah, that one really got me too.
Okay, Mary, now we're in tears too. So that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. All right, so you mentioned $1,100 a week just to pay the stipend.
Just to pay the stipend.
Which means you probably have fundraising efforts all the time. Do you have anything coming up that you want to make our listeners aware of in terms of fundraising?
To be honest, I'm not a fundraiser person, so I'm looking for help in that area. What I've done to this point is I go to speaking engagements. I've spoken at probably everybody's church, everybody's synagogue, everybody's women's and men's club, and you invite me, I come, and then they give us money, and that's how I've done it. Plus, I write grants. It's my punishment for making my students learn how to write grants when I was teaching social work. I now have to write grants. You hear that, students? There have been, Illinois Prayer Community Foundation has been great with us. Women to Women Fund, General Fund. There's an organization in Minnesota called Mary's Pence, and they only help women's organizations in the first 3 years of their development.
Wow.
A wealthy entrepreneur person up in Chicago, the Abra Prentice Foundation. I mean, that's how I've gotten the money, but I need to expand. I really do. I've never done fundraisers as we think of them to this point. I've mostly just send out an appeal letter. Another woman and I write this appeal letter telling that we send every month we send out a newsletter because a person on our staff taught herself she's a volunteer. She's also retired. She taught herself how to do Canva and a newsletter and all. She didn't know how to do that. And so we send that out. And as a result of that, people do send in donations. But this amount of women, this is a lot that we have right now. And with the minimum wage having gone up to 15, that adds another level but it's the best thing we've ever done because the women have money to pay for gas. They can pay for an Uber. They can pay for the bus. They can pay for childcare when they get home.
Right.
Which they couldn't do. And we realized that during the end of COVID when we started up, that it was really critical. The small amount of money that we could give would make a big difference.
Awesome. Well, for our listeners, we will have a link to the Dreams Are Possible website in the show notes. There will be an area on that website where you can make a donation. And if any of our audience members happen to be expert fundraisers, please contact Mary because she could use some help in getting some fundraisers organized.
Definitely use a lot of help.
On that note, are there any new things coming for Dreams Are Possible as you move forward in 2025, 2026? Any new training you're making available or anything like that?
As we grow and as we learn what the women need, that's when we added the forklift. We pay for the forklift, and it's offered at Heartland Community College. It costs $1,560. And I wrote a grant for that. But then this year, actually, Heartland Community College had a grant that could help us. And so that paid for one, so we'll be able to offer a second one. As we find out what the women's needs are, we've been inviting people to come in from like companies, Ferraro, Bridgestone Tires, places like that, to come in and tell us what they need the women to have to be prepared to work in their workforce. And so as we learn those new things, we add essential skills. We did add one thing that's, I think, particularly cool for a small nonprofit, is that our essential skills class has been approved by Heartland Community College that if the students finish our program, it's the equivalent of finish the essential skills class at Heartland, and they get 1 college credit.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a head start then if they want to pursue their associate's degree.
Yes, it is.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Amazing. All right. So I think I've heard, Mary, you share several different ways that the community can help. If there are people who are expert fundraisers, contact Mary. If if you're in the trades and you know what sort of skills that your company needs, Dreams Are Possible sounds like they would be all ears to hearing what those skills might be. And if you happen to have one of these skills and it's something that you're willing to share, maybe contact Mary.
We really appreciate those workshops.
If you're a retiree.
Yes, if you're a retiree, Mary will put you to work. But are there any other ways that the rest of the community can help support more women through Dreams Are Possible?
Well, I think we can support more women by treating them more decently every time we go into the store or shop somewhere. We can show more respect for the women who are working there, because those jobs are hard. And they put up with people who are crabby and grumpy and have had a rough day and just had a fight with their spouse. And so the more respect we show to the women and encouragement and appreciation, that builds for them a belief that they can begin to make some changes in their own lives. So I think that we can all do a little bit. I have a sweatshirt that I got off online, and it says, everyone you meet is dealing with something you know nothing about.
100%.
And I really think that's true.
Yep.
So the more we can, if you hear somebody who's interested, or their daughter or their niece or whatever, tell them to get in touch with us. We're very welcoming, very friendly, and we do our best. We have a woman who's taking the apprenticeship test. She's in our class right now, and she's taking the apprenticeship test next week. So for the building trades, the labor. So it just depends on what they're wanting and what they're doing. But we always need people who can come in and practice resumes with them. They've never done a resume. Give them tips on what's a good resume. We need women, not women, but people, men and women, who will come in and help them by letting them pretend that they're interviewing them for a job. So we always are tapping into our community for those things.
Wonderful. Thank you. And appreciate your message about never knowing what people are carrying with them. And I think that's a message kind of regardless of where you are and what you're doing. Leading with kindness is never going to hurt.
No.
It's never going to send you down the wrong path.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And actually that sweatshirt on the front says "Be kind."
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
It's all
look at
connected.
that.
Yeah.
All connected. All connected.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary, for visiting us and sharing more about Dreams Are Possible and giving us all a little grace and giving
Yes.
back.
Yeah.
So, Anita, can you believe that this is our 7th episode?
Where has the time gone?
I don't know. We've learned about 3 new nonprofits this year. We've revisited people like Mary, coming back and
Super
finding out
fun.
where people have been for the last few years with 3 of our past recipients. This is just so much fun, and I can't wait to do more of this.
I could not agree more.
The 100 Women for Good money that we were given was invaluable. And we used that directly into the stipend program for the women. We felt that
perfect.
was the best place to put it at the time.
Yep.
Because it's women helping women.
Yeah.
So thank you all very much
We
for
love to
being
hear
a part of
that.
that.
Yes, and we're thrilled that we could help.
Yeah.
All right, I think that about does it for this episode of the Give Back Girls. Make sure you look for our next episode. We drop on the second Sunday of the month, so if you hit that follow button, it'll show up in your feed. Otherwise, you have to look for us every second Sunday of the month, but we'll be there. And we can't wait to introduce you to the next nonprofit. Before we go, a special thank you to the Illinois State University School of Communication for use of their podcasting studio and technical engineering and production services.
And with that, as always, go out and do some good and give back.